It's Flyday. What I've got is just flat lead. Now you don't even have to weight this fly, because when you're fishing in the winter, you can put it as a top dropper or a middle dropper, but condense all your weight into the point fly. And the less weight you put in this, the more movement you actually get out of it. But I'm just going to put just a very, very little bit of flat lead, middle of the hook. And then the silk we're using is uni-thread pink, right? And that's important because this is what's giving the whole pattern the colour. So I'll just put a bed of silk loosely over the lead. Just cover it. Some people put super glue on it, but I don't. The thread's enough to hold it in place. And you'll see automatically by putting that lead in the middle, you get in that curved, shrimpy effect straight away. So what's next? Now, because there's such a curve on the bottom, just rotate that hook a little bit so we can tie the stuff in at the back end. First thing I'm going to put in, I'm going to put a rib. Now, nylon rib, fluorocarbon rib, doesn't matter. One thing with fluorocarbon, with nylon, it's very, very soft, it's very flat. So before you tie it in, put it in your teeth and flatten it. So what I want to do is put some grooves in that in this end so it won't pull through. So I'm just going to bite it in the teeth. And then, I don't know if you can see that, you'll see all the flat bits. So when I tie that in now, when you pull it tight, those little bite marks are just going to make sure that that will lock in place. There's nothing worse than getting the shellback in place, getting the underneath in place, and then going to put the last bit, the rib, and then everything just pulls out. So then we've got a very dull pink shellback, dull on one side, and then it's dull on the inside and shiny, and you want the shiny bit on the outside. So we'll just tie this in at the back end. The great thing with this material as well is you can tie it as small or as big as you want, because the more you pull it, the more it stretches and the thinner it gets. So just get a little bit more of shrimpy shape, building it up, and this is the color you want, this pink shrimp. Now then, the tricky bit about tying this one is the imitation legs underneath. And what am I going to use? Well, I'll show you in 1 second. We'll just get back down now, down to there. We're using good old fritz, micro fritz. Now, if you can't get this dull pink, if you've got a brighter pink, what you can do is boil it in the kettle. Don't do it in the kettle that you're actually making tea with, because it's horrible. And what you do is just let it boil out, or boil it in a pan. So all of it just bleaches out. Now, what I'm going to do is tie this round underneath. Okay, I'm going to tie that. And we're going to cut the end sticking towards the tail off. And we're just going to lock that in place. Now, what I'm going to do is pull the fritz back. Couple of turns. And then what I'm going to do is underneath, all right, lock the fritz, check that it's directly underneath the fly, pull it back, couple of turns, pull it back underneath, and then all these fritz fibers are just acting like little feelers or breathers underneath the shrimp. We'll go back up, one more there, pull it underneath there, locking turn, then just a half hitch at the moment. Because you're using a grub hook, then there is a tendency of everything to slide off. Half hitch keeps it in place. Right, now cut that off. Right. Right, stop for a second. The bloody hell's going on here now? Right, okay. We're ready to go. Okay? Now pull the shell back over. So it encases the top. Pull it tight. Now what you can do is just locking turn in there, making sure it doesn't slide over. And then, there's only one locking turn to start with. What you do with the rib, get down there, just on the side. There we go. With the rib, pull it down underneath and try and put that nylon going through where the silk went through. And it's locking that shell back in place, giving you the segmented effect. There, and then if you want to tidy up, undo that, pull the shell back out of the way, there, and then lock the nylon in place. Few turns to do that, because the last thing you want to do is that nylon to slip, and then tidy it up by just putting that over the eye. If you want to really make it look a little bit shrimpier, you could put a couple of dots at the head and also pull this, just cut it off so it points over the end, and then finish off with a whip finish. And there you go, my killer pink shrimp for winter grayling fishing.